Hey, this is Feliciano with Feliciano and Friends. I have Mr. John Robinson, and you own Team Ambition Fitness, right?
Correct.
All right, so give us a little bit of background of how that got started.
Okay, so Team Ambition Fitness. I always say, when me and my wife talk about this, because me and my wife started this business, it's never like an inspirational story. I guess depends who you tell it to. All right, so I'm prior military. I retired back in 2021.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, shucks.
And which
Navy.
branch? Okay.
Navy. So back in 2011, 2012, we were stationed in Okinawa, Japan. And we were our second week coming in. We was going on Air Force Base. We saw this big billboard that said bodybuilding competition. So I was like, hey, let's go check it out. I know nothing about bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Nothing about it whatsoever. So we're just trying to kill time. We go to this bodybuilding show. I see these men on stage, these women on stage. I was like, I told my wife, who's in the crowd, I was like, I want to try that. She was like, try it. All right. So let's fast forward 6 months. I say this humbly. It may sound hypocritical. Everybody needs a coach, right? I never had a coach, never had a personal trainer or anything like that. So I just nerded out. I call it nerded out. So I just went on bodybuilder.com, started doing a lot of research, trial and error, learning how to do all this stuff. So got on stage, prepped myself, enjoyed it, had so much fun doing it. Posted on social media, got so much feedback from it. Next thing you know, we turned it into a business. And I'm telling you about it, 12, 13 years later.
Okay, very cool. So what exactly is the business?
So Team Ambition Fitness is a health and wellness business. We provide training, online training. It's all online. It's not like an in-person. Okay. I know a lot of times when people see my social media, it looks like I train people in person. It's really not in person. We do online, and we use a platform, an app for our platform to train players, to train people. Okay. I like to call it macro management. So we do nutritional coaching, and then again the whole training aspect of things.
Okay, so do you do it like for the training online? Is it like individual that you're seeing them and training with them, or do you have? No. Okay, so you have like a film, so you have them.
So the cool thing about our platform is when I build a workout plan or a training plan, for every exercise, there's a video on how to do it. So I can't be there to do it, right? So I have a video that shows you how to do it, proper form, all that things like that.
Okay, and then so how do people decide, like, I'm going to do this? Do you guarantee results? Do you just have lots of results or it's word of mouth? Like, what makes, because I mean, it takes, like, so I know how I sell things. Okay. So how do you sell why someone should do this?
Oh, great question. So number one thing in all business, word of mouth is priceless. Yeah. So honestly, I like to say the people I coach, they're almost like our recruiters, right? There are recruiters because if they're getting great results, they feel good, they look good, the whole confidence thing, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go tell their girlfriend, their boyfriend, they're going to tell them about who I am and what we do and their experiences. And that turns into now they join the team. We don't do like paid advertisements or anything like that. We do the whole social media thing just like everybody else does. So we utilize the social proof. So I think that's usually how we end up having a lot of people want to join Team Ambition.
But I guess like how are they selling it? So is it? I guess my question is a couple of things. Is it people not just minimizing, but someone like myself that would want to maybe come to you and say, hey, I want to get better shape in this area. I don't want to bodybuild, but I want this. Yeah. Or is it mainly bodybuilders? And then how long is the program? Are you saying, hey, in a month? Are you saying give me 3 months? Are you saying give me 6 months? So what type of clients? And also, what is the time frame for them to have realistic expectations?
Okay, great question. So I want to say this. One, I am a competition prep coach. But that's not the main goal, right? I like to call that's like a specialty, right? When you go to primary care, if you have a specialty, you go see a specific doctor, they refer you to it. So for us, our goal is to, and let me actually back up. I mainly coach women, to be honest with you, from between the ages of 30 to 55. Right? And they're not always all bodybuilders. I know when you look at social media, you're going to see,
I thought it was
man, wow, all he does is coach women who bodybuild and be in bikinis. Yeah. Honestly, they're not. A lot of people I do coach or we do coach, they don't want to be posted on social media.
I was going to say that happens to me too. Yeah. But the women are like, here you go. Yes. Yeah, that happens with me, the men too. Like I have many more women that are like, here's my before and after versus the man.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So and out of respect for them, that's the first thing I tell every single person. Yeah. Like, hey, I do have social media. I will post only if I get your consent. If you tell me no, I will never post. Yeah. Because that's their privacy, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, so I would definitely always respect that.
Yes.
But yeah, so for the most part, it's between the age of 30 to 55. Mainly majority women. I do coach a few men, but majority of are women. Myself and I have another coach, Courtney, as well as my wife helps me run this business too.
Okay, so how time consuming is it for each person?
Great question. So I'm gonna run you through what that really looks like.
Okay,
Okay, so if I'm gonna use you for example,
yes.
you're the best example because you're in front of me.
Yes.
So let's say you're doing a program with me, right? Mm-hmm. So I equate it almost like telehealth. So I'll build your workout plan together. We'll conversate.
Now, do you kind of build it to like preferences or anything like that? Okay.
Because they'll fill out consultation.
Is it preferences on how they like to exercise, or preferences for how they're trying to look, or both?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Solely based off your resources, because not everybody has the same resources. Mm-hmm. So some people go to the gym, some people do it at home, right? Okay. Some busy moms just won't go to the gym or can't go to the gym. So solely based off their resources. So I'll build it from that. And then also where they're at in their journey. Because just like all matters in therapy or counseling, I meet you where you're at.
Yes.
So I can't give you a same plan that I would give somebody who's just starting out, because I know you're fairly active.
Yes.
So I wouldn't give the same person, the same expectations.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And then the other question was how long? Like,
okay,
how long?
So I like to do programs where it's 12 weeks, a 12-week program. Usually that first month, people are just starting those habits. And you're going to hear me say that a lot. I talk about healthy habits. Because honestly, that's what this is all about.
No, I agree. And
it's all about creating healthy habits. What is healthy habits? That means, hey, are we just being active? Are we being conscious of what we're eating, how much we're eating? Are we being intentional about, going to the gym, being intentional about or working out? Or being intentional about our sleep, right? So those are the 4 pillars I always like to measure. And I do that through our app. The only thing I really can't measure is really out of my scope is like stress. That's when, maybe somebody else needs to be taken over.
Okay.
So.
And then how do you hold them accountable?
Great question. We do check-ins, and that's honestly that's when the coaching really happens, when we do check-ins. So I'll do a check-in every Wednesday and Saturday. Most coaches only do check-ins once a week. Okay. I don't like to do once a week because I don't like to wait to hear on Saturday that you fucked up on Tuesday and Wednesday.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So on Wednesdays and Saturdays we do a small little check-in, see how things are going. I like to schedule at least a 15-30-minute conversation. At least once a week, especially just starting off, and we have those conversations. Literally, what me and you're doing. Yeah. Hey, how was your week? What are your challenges? What were 3 things that you was happy about today? What are 3 things that was a challenge? How did you overcome those challenges? So having them say things out loud will help them, trigger some thoughts and like, okay, you know what? I can do better here. I don't have to sit there and yell at anybody. I don't have to sit there and be like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Let's have a conversation. Where can we get better?
And so how do you, I know how I do it. So some of the questions I'm asking, different businesses with some similar things. Yes. So I'm also just like curious what, how other people do it. So how do you encourage someone that maybe had a bad week? Like, what do you say?
Grace. We start with grace. Right? Okay. So we'll have that conversation. Okay, so you feel like you don't have to be perfect. Nobody's, even your most favorite personal trainer or coach, whoever you look up to is not perfect. So I'll start with grace. All right, so what do we fall short at? Okay, how do we get better so we don't do that next week? Whatever that may be. So I start with grace, right? And then we look at that, problem solve, put a system in place so we don't have to worry about that happening as much as possible. Okay. As long as it's something controllable. Yeah. If it's something they can control, absolutely. If it's something out of control, let's talk about it and just talk you off the bridge.
Okay, that's good. So can I share something?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have something a little different, but it's the same. The end result is getting to the same thing. But I always too have like a lot of interest in just like the brain and science all of this. So part of it too is why it's so difficult for people to make cognitive behavioral changes is because there's a lot of different reasons. But one is that in our brain there is a part of our brain that it's just trying to keep us to survive, right? It's trying to keep us to survive. So when we try to make any changes, it can feel like unsafe. And so for an example is someone that's like 300 pounds, someone that was obese coming to me, that always when they feel sad, like binge eats, for example. Yes. Well, there's part of like their body and their brain that's like, wait a second, I've kept this man alive for 40 years with this. No, the other part of the brain that's not subconscious is like, but if we continue to do this, you're only going to have 5 more years of life, or like all of these different things. So it's actually not conducive just like drugs or alcohol. It's a long-term survival, but there's something that's like, but this is how I've survived. This is how I've survived. So I always try to tell people, that's fine. The brain can't overcome that, but the way that it overcomes it is that you have to start making new habits, which is what you're doing, which is the same thing that you're telling them. And, and we have to get there. So like, it's an excuse, but not an excuse. And also, like, it doesn't happen overnight. And I always this is what you're already doing for 12 weeks. It's like, I do try to have like a plan for them and just say, hey, like if you miss one day, which is what you're doing, just restart the next day. Yes. Because sometimes people just derail. Yes. If they like miss one day, they're like, it's over.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe something we end up touching on later. Yeah. But I think that's like I hate to say it like this, but it is what it is. Like the New Year's resolutions. Right? Yeah. And it doesn't have to be just fitness. It's any New Year's resolution that a person has. It can be money, it can be health, it can be whatever. But it's like I wait until Monday to do it, and it's Friday. Excuse me, maybe Wednesday. Why wait? Why don't we start working towards Monday now? Yes. Right. So when Monday comes, we're ahead of it. Yeah, right? Exactly. So I think sometimes that's where people fall short.
No, for sure, and it's like we all struggle with it, and I'm sure for you too. Like when I get back into really healthy habits, it's like easy to keep, and then when you slip out of it gets hard sometimes. Oh my gosh! Even for myself, like you get to get back in that thing. So, yes. Your background includes years of multifaceted experience. How has that shaped the way you coach people physically and mentally?
So, I would probably say over the last 2 years, and I love the fact that you talked about mindset. You talked about the mind. I really started getting more into like human behavior. So I'm not saying I'm being.
Oh, I'm not an expert or anything.
Okay, well, I find it very intriguing, right? I'm not looking to be a psychologist or anything like that, or dive deeper into the mental space. Mm-hmm. But I find that understanding emotional intelligence, human behavior, that's really helped me coach other people. Because ask me 5 years ago, I'd be like, why can't you do it? You can do it. It's just a push-up, right? But now that I'm older, I have a little bit more experience, I understand human behavior and how people think, and you talk about habits and whatnot. Yes. So I think those are the things that help me be successful in regards to coaching people. Using those different experiences, understanding empathy, understanding self-awareness, understanding both these relationship management. So some of those different things, like nuances that I've learned over these last few years, or last 2 years or so, I think that's helped me really become a better coach, to understand people and where they're at.
Okay. So. And then so you basically coach from all different like physicalities. How do you know from the beginning like how to, when you're saying like basically human behavioral, do you have like a different coaching style with different people?
Absolutely.
Or, okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Prime example. So I have one lady I currently coach. If I know what her triggers are, meaning like, hey, she's the type of person. It's not me. Yeah, like she can do it. No, it's like, hey, come on, you got more in you. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Like that type of rah type of training style, whatnot. That works for her, right? And then there's other ladies that I coach that doesn't work for. That's actually kind of intimidating. Mm-hmm. So I may be like, hey, how much you think you do a little bit more? How much would you do if I wasn't here? And they'll do a little bit more, right? So that's like one of my go-tos. Like, if I wasn't here, what would you do, right? Yeah. So it helps them psychologically, like, you know what, I could do a little bit more. Versus the other person, like, hey, let's go, you can do a little bit more. So, and they need that, right? No, so I tailor it based off the individual. So I mean, again, I reference a lot. I meet them where they're at. Though.
And then, do you have them do like a run pro scale or InBody, or do anything so you can track them?
Yes. So it depends where they're at, because again, a lot of people I coach, they're not just in Florida; they're all over, right? So what I ask for them to do is, if they have the resources, like they go to the gym, do an InBody scanner, they'll either do one or two things. Yeah. They'll send it to me, or they'll input it into our app, so I can see that.
Well, the other thing is, like, take it or leave it. What I tell all my patients to do, but there's a RemPro scale on Amazon. Okay. I use it for myself. They have like $100 ones. It's usually 24. It's like once a week, $24.99. 5 days a week, it's on sale for $19.99. I use it for myself. It's as good as an InBody. You get on it naked, barefoot, and it has all the metrics. And I have them send it to me. Yeah,
I need to have one.
I will. Yeah, I will send it to you. And I have like physicians, attorneys, like people that are and they're all like, "This is the best thing," and then they get really into it. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Absolutely, it's super cool. And I tell all my weight loss people right away. I say, "Hey, get this thing. It's $20. It's worth the investment." And then it's cool for them too, because then they're being able to track in that privacy or their home and everything. It's great. I use it myself. Yeah, I'll show you at the end. But yeah. So I should get like an Amazon link for it for how many RemPro scales that I sold. Truly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm in
you market it for them. So
and it's really and I have people that have tried it, and it's a comparable to the InBody. It's the same technology, and so anyway,
absolutely.
So it's just cool. And then you've worked with athletes, professionals, military members, everyday people. Is there a client transformation story that's really stuck with you?
Yes.
Okay.
So I've had the opportunity to coach so many people, and I'm very, very super duper thankful for each and every single person I coach. Yeah. But I'll probably say this person, and not unfortunately, but it was actually for a bodybuilding competition. It was actually last year. I was coaching a lady. Her name is Chris. She's actually here in Jacksonville. She lived in a van. She lived completely out of a van, right? So it's not like she had an apartment. She didn't have in the house. It wasn't no go to microwave and all that stuff like that. So we worked together for 7 months, for 7 months, and well, 6 to 7 months. And we started. I wish I could show you her transformation. You'll see it on social, but where she started and where we ended, I was very, very happy about, because I've never coached anybody who lived in a car. She did 90% of our whole program in a car. I mean, in her Jeep. Excuse me, her van. Yeah. So to me, that was like one of the most biggest challenges because everybody else lives in a house, has an apartment, has these different amenities, these resources. She didn't have that, right? And that was by choice.
Yeah,
right? And she's always she travels, right? Yes. All the time. So I just found that I knew when we had a conversation, it was going to be very challenging for me because I got to figure out how do I adapt all the things I know to all the things I don't know to what she's got to deal with day in, day out. Yeah. So there was communication, making sure again meet where she's at, all that stuff like that.
Was it van life where she had like facilities in her van, or did she park at RVs? And
it wasn't an RV. It was like one of those small. It was like an old van. I think she had it's like let's say if she camped out, she went to an RV.
Got it. Place. Yeah, something like that.
She may do something like that.
But then where did she shower?
I don't know. I think she would. Well, of course, when she goes to the gym, if and when she went to the gym, of course she goes to the gym. Every once in a while, if she was at somebody's friend's house or she was at family member's house. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably for the most part. I want to say if I can remember correctly. I really asked about the hygiene.
Yeah. No, I was just always curious. No, I was just curious. I mean, I didn't know if there was resources around town. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't know. Well, I didn't know if it was an RV park or something where they had outdoor showers or something. Yeah. I think about. I don't know.
I leave that to her.
Yeah. So. No. I'm just Yeah. I always think it's just how I think about when people, especially too, just when she was she had the resources that she wanted to do that. I just wasn't sure how she was getting.
Yes. So it was a funny little story, but she found me. She said she chat GPT, bodybuilding coaches in Jacksonville. Yeah. I came up. The team of Vision Fitness came up, and then we had a conversation. She started following me on Instagram. We had a conversation, talking for an hour and a half.
Oh wow.
It was like an interview for an hour and a half. Yeah. So it was really, really cool. So I'm very excited about that transformation. But I'm excited about everybody's transformation. Yeah. That one really sticks out.
So with her, did you have her do more outdoor things or indoor? How did you?
Oh, so for her, it was more so traditionally, right? You got to do cardio, or whatever. Okay, go to the gym. Walk the treadmill or walk the stairs. Wasn't like that for her. She had to go for walks wherever she was at. It's all tracked through an app. Or whatnot. So it was had to be creative, right? Yes. I had to be very creative, how are we gonna do this? Yeah. It's not like she goes to the gym all the time because of how she was moving, how she was living. So she had kettlebells, dumbbells, resistance bands. So I had to be very, very creative on how we're gonna do this.
Okay, that's neat. That's really cool. All right. What's the biggest misconception that people have about nutrition, fat loss, and building muscle?
I think the biggest misconceptions, I'm always going to start leaning on nutrition first because to me, everybody thinks that it's about going to the gym. Don't get me wrong, that's honestly 25% of it. Mm-hmm. I think the other bigger chunk is nutrition. So I think the biggest misconception is that, if one actually really kind of say hey, I didn't have a perfect day today, I'm going to be fat or I'm not doing great. It's not every single day is perfect. Yeah. I think that if you just focus on, the very small thing, just focus on protein. And then we can focus on everything else.
I'm all high protein, low carbs. Are you high protein, low carbs?
For myself personally?
Or just even for advice? Well, I'm also advising for weight loss, not necessarily. But then I advise protein. I advise, my job is a little bit different than yours because I'm not trying to, I'm trying to get people to lose weight and maintain muscle. So my advice for that is probably different than yours. Because I always say high protein, low carbohydrate. I say make sure that you're lifting either weights or calisthenics to make sure that you're making muscle mass. If you're really obese and I have you walk with just weights on or something like that. And then I always say there's eating for weight loss and then there's eating for health. So healthy eating is there's carbs and fruits and things that are healthy eating, and then there's eating for weight loss, which we really want to cut those things out. So what is more eating for bodybuilding? Because I don't know eating for bodybuilding. I know eating for weight loss.
Okay, so I'm going to use both. So I'm going to use bodybuilders, and then I'll use athletes, and then I'll use everyday people.
Okay.
Because for the most part, the bodybuilders start off as everyday people.
Yes.
So I believe in doing reverse diet. So meaning that, because this is my thinking.
So explain that, yeah.
Exactly. So my thinking is this, right? 9 times out of 10, everybody that I've had a conversation with before we start, hey, walk me through your daily nutrition. What did you eat yesterday? About 95% of people say, Well, I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat until 12 o'clock. And then in 12 o'clock, all I have is coffee. So that's usually how those conversations start. And then they tell me everything else. So if you're already not eating and you're going to ask me if you want to lose weight and you want me to put you in a deficit already, well, you're already in a deficit because you don't eat enough, right? So I'm going to make this kind of simple as much as possible. Use it for mathematics' sake. So if you're supposed to eat 2,000 calories to maintain your weight, and you want to lose weight, but you're only eating like 1,200 calories, now we work together. I'm not going to cut, and you're supposed to be in a 250, maybe 500 calorie deficit to lose weight. I'm not going to cut you that low because now we're going to mess with your hormones. Now we're going to mess with your sleep habits. All those things are going to be messed up. So reverse dieting, long story short, is I meet you where you're at. So if you're only eating 1,200 calories, you're supposed to be eating about 2,000. We start increasing food. We start increasing food, right? Once we get to a nice, comfortable space, then we start cutting down your food. And you're going to, between that process, we start working on your metabolism. And then also, once we start coming down, you're going to start seeing the weight change, body composition change. That's pretty much reverse dieting. It's going back up in calories, and then you come back down slowly. So, so yeah, that's pretty much.
And do you do that so you can kind of change what they're eating in part?
So with me, I don't. For me, everybody's different, right? My thing is I don't believe in restriction, right? I tell every single person I coach, unless you're bodybuilder, sorry.
Yeah, unless you're losing weight.
So there are no restrictions with us, right?
So you don't like restrict certain foods?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe in that just because if I tell you you can't eat it, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go eat it 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
In my experience, just my experience.
Yeah.
So
the only thing about that, as far as like, I do believe in moderation, but like not is it like okay. We're probably on the same page. I was just thinking that I always just think if they don't really completely change their eating habits, they're going to put the weight back on.
Okay. So I wouldn't say necessarily not just what you eat, but how much you eat.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what I don't disagree that like I would eat a little bit of everything at some point, but I also think, but I don't know.
Go ahead,
yeah.
This is good.
I mean
this is new perspectives.
So for me, I was really blessed. Didn't realize it growing up. My mother was Swedish. And she was also a registered dietitian. And we had a farm. And we grew. So we almost ate farm to table. Ate really healthy, like very naturally, right? And then my mom used to be like kind of say like, never do diet sodas. She would be kind of mean, like only fat people do diet sodas. But like she was very much like if you're going to indulge, have a real brownie, have a little ice cream. So I do think I grew up eating really healthy, eating desserts in moderation appropriately. Like so I was really blessed in like how I grew up. But then I also didn't eat much processed foods, different. So I guess I'm not saying if someone's at a healthy weight, they can't occasionally eat whatever they want, but I don't think people can eat whatever they want all the time or they're going to be unhealthy or put on weight.
Fair enough. So let me dive deeper into that. Give you a little bit more explanation. So I wouldn't say it's restriction, but hey, you don't still eat whatever you want and how much you want, but also we give a food list, right? And all of our food lists are all whole foods, to be honest with you. Right? And then we talk about macro management, right? So someone who's just starting out, I'm not going to be like, hey, you need to understand all 3 of your macros. Let's literally what you're saying, hey, let's focus on your protein, right? So based off what you need to eat for every day for protein, this is your protein list, and they're all whole foods, right?
So it's all healthy,
yeah. So as much as possible, that's the goal, is to create that habit, right? Those healthy habits. So that's typically what that looks like. Now, at the end of the week, if you had a great week, right? I'll put in there like on a Friday and Saturday, celebrate your wins, whatever that may be for you. That could be pie, that could be ice cream, that could be wine, whatever it is, beer, whatever that is for that person. So I'm trying to play the numbers, right? So out of 7 days, if you've been great for 5 or 6, one day.
I agree. Yes. No, so I agree with that. For some people, like, I would say for myself, I kind of fall into that category. Yes. I get like super healthy, but then like this weekend I was with friends. It's like Memorial Day. Like, I'm just gonna do whatever for that weekend because I know once I come back in Jacksonville, I'm gonna get back on. But I do think this is probably don't happen many people like this, but I do think for people that like suffer from binge eating disorder, which are really obese people that really have, which probably aren't coming to you for bodybuilding, they sometimes I do have to advise like certain things to them. I'm talking about just I had problems with like prescription drug, like narcotics, is that sometimes with these people when they come to me, they'll talk about ice cream or they'll talk about abuse like a drug. And they will eat such binge that I sometimes do have to advise like, hey, for your health, this might be something you want to cut out because what happens is they get a dopamine hit.
Yes.
When they feed it and then they have trouble, like a pattern. Even so, if you give them that Saturday to do it, it's going to be very hard for them, just like someone addicted to alcohol or drugs. That's a minority of people, but there are people, especially that have severe obesity secondary to binge eating disorder, that sometimes this is just what
absolutely.
that you have to advise, like, hey, you might just have to stop. I mean, maybe they can get to full weight one day, but out the gate, it's just like, now, and especially to they just can't stop.
So, for those reasons, that's one prime reason why we actually partnered with nutritional counseling. And that's a company of registered dietitians for exact reasons for that. Because there's some people that's out of my scope of practice.
Yeah, so I'm just, that's like a different, I mean, that's kind of an anomaly. That's not like most people that are going to be coming, to you, but I'm just sharing,
no, 1,000%.
And I wasn't really even aware of it until I really started doing like weight loss, and especially like, people that were really, like, just how like much food gave them comfort food, and and I had so with GLP-1 peptides, it basically mutes, you don't get the same dopamine hits when you eat sugars and fats. 99.9% of people like love it because they're like, I don't crave it. But I actually had like 2 people that were really obese that didn't even want to continue because it was like they missed like the feelings of like wanting those foods and those highs. And I couldn't even, it's I've been with 2, and I couldn't even like really I tried to redirect them like, hey, if you go through it, like, because these people were like very big. Like, if you don't redirect this way of living, but they had such like food gave them such emotional comfort or thing that they were like, I'd rather have that than like lose the weight.
Really?
That's rare, but yeah. So, and I don't not like, and I'm not that super practice to be able to really talk, so I'm just like trying to be, I don't think that's a great choice, but like I don't. You don't want to like also make someone feel horrible about that, So I try to like educate them, and they're like, "Oh, I want to eat."
Yes.
Okay.
All you can do is advise.
So Okay. And then next question. Sorry.
This is great.
So fitness often becomes as much of a mental battle, as a physical one. How do you help people with mindset for long-term transformation?
So I think for mindset, and that's where everything starts, is the mindset. Then you got nutrition and all stuff like that. So I think for me, trying to understand people where they're at again with the whole mindset purpose of things, or how to critique their mindset. When we do our conversation, our check-ins, and I think that's part of it. It's not just how much weight did you lift, or how much how much cardio did you do. Yeah. That's great. You did it great. But so I'll ask them what are the goals, right? How do you get to those goals? So again, I think for me, I reference a book called Quiet Leadership. Called Quiet Leadership, and that's where I get a lot of my coaching from. I'll ask them, it's asking questions I already know the answers to, right? So I know the answers to. 9 times 10, they know the answers to it. They just gotta say it out loud. Give me a question. So, for example, here's a good one. So, how do you? Super elementary. So, how do you lose weight? What do you need to do to lose weight? Okay. Eat less calories than you put in. Okay. Perfect. So, eat less calories. So, talk to me about what you had today. What did you eat today? You don't have to literally tell me that. Yeah. But I would actually, and I'm looking at their meal logs with the, so tell me what you ate, right? So they'll tell me what they ate, and then I will ask them, well, it looks like you had some good choices here from what I can see. Great job here, great job there. So, giving them kudos and also holding accountability to it, I think that also helps with their mindset. Okay, they're knowing that, okay, John's looking at what I'm eating or what I'm doing. I need to make sure I'm doing it, right? Yeah. Because you're not going to pay me just for me to look at what you're doing and you're not doing it. Right, so I think that also helps with that whole accountability and the mindset. And then again, just having conversations. The longer I end up coaching people, it does have a conversation about with nutrition and working out and stuff like that. But they also start sharing other things what's going on in their life. I mean, I'm not a counselor or anything like that, but they start sharing other things. I know you get this too, right? It's not just hey, you're giving them peptides and for sure, they get into like some of their personal life. Yes. So we'll dive a little bit into that. But not too personal because there's certain things I don't need to know. Yeah. It's not my business, and I can't really do the advice on. But that kind of tells me like a little bit where they're at too. Okay, that's cool. And then you competed yourself, and you become an athlete that changed as competing yourself. How did that change how you coach other people? So I think that having an experience of knowing what that looks like, going through that whole process, helps me understand what they're going to go through. Right, so it makes it a little easier for me. Factor for that. Do people come in not bodybuilders and say I want to be a bodybuilder, or are they more bodybuilders wanting to improve? That was just a bodybuilder. No, great question. So typically this is how it starts. They'll start this way. We'll just start working. They'll start working out with me and whatnot. They may start seeing some people on my social, or they'll ask me a question about bodybuilding, And then usually by, week 8, week 10, the conversation like, hey, you think I can do this? Then we have a conversation about it.
Okay,
right?
That's cool. So they kind of come in just like, I want to get in shape, I want to change my body, and then they start to get more into it, and they're like, hey, I might want to bodybuild.
Typically.
Okay.
But then there's on the other spectrum, we talked about the word of mouth.
Yes.
Then there's people who come to me specifically only, I want to get on stage. Okay. And then we have those conversations. So not everybody is ready for the stage as soon as they come to me. Yeah. It's like, hey, okay, let me see how you look. Let's have a conversation. What's your relationship with nutrition? All those things like that. I got to interview them like they interview me. If they're not ready, I'm going to say, hey, we need to take the next, 3 to 6 months work together to see where we get to. And then we can look at doing a show maybe, a year from now.
Okay, that was one of the questions. If I wanted to, I don't want to bodybuild, but if I did.
Not yet.
Not yet. But if I did want to bodybuild, how long would it take?
So typically, depends on where a person's at.
So for where I'm at, okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah, just all speculation. We're making this up. So one, if I just looking at you, you'd probably be a bikini athlete. I would tell somebody to do at least 4 to 5 months. 4 to 5 months of a prep. Okay. So 16, 20 weeks.
How much are they working out every day?
Depends on the person. There's so many different variables.
Because I feel like I work out a lot and I never look like a bodybuilder, even close.
Well, there's a lot of strategy to it, right?
I'm not trying to, but I'm just like, I feel like,
it depends on the person. On average, you're going to do at least 5 days.
Is it just
max
the weights,
6.
the amount that they're lifting to get that way? Makes it more.
Weights and cardio. Yeah, weights and cardio and all nutrition. Okay. All nutrition.
So, how much when they're bodybuilding? How many calories do you have them do usually?
It varies. It really varies on the person.
Well, how much extra are they doing for the muscle?
So,
because I'm like into weight loss, not build,
yes,
and to maintain muscle, but not. So I know nothing. Like this is a really different spectrum as far as.
All good. Yeah. So during the prep, I'm not trying to have them have too many calories, depending on where they're at. They're not eating a whole lot. Okay. Depending at different phases. But when they're in the off season, that's when you're trying to get a lot more food into your body. But when you're in a prep, you're pretty much decreasing food and potentially increasing in training, depending on what you're doing. Also, your daily steps and make sure you rest. All those different things are the variables that go into it.
Okay. So, how many clients do you have right now?
I'm at 26, 27.
Okay. And then how long are the programs that they're on? What's the shortest program that someone's on right now? And what's the longest program that someone's on right now? All right.
So I'll do a program I call it lifestyle training or nutrition. So some people hey, I just need a workout plan. Yeah. Hey, no problem. So I have a lady that's been with me for 7 to 8 years. She's out in New Jersey. She's been with me for like 7 to 8 years. She's gone from, doing a regular plan to I got her on stage 3 times, and now we're in the off season. So I've had somebody been with me for years. They'll do, a whole subscription. I tell them, say, hey, no loss, I'm good. Or they'll do a 3-month plan. But 9 times out of 10, when you do a 3-month plan with me, be with me for at least six months to a year.
Yeah, because you do a good job. That's good. Yeah.
Humbly speaking.
No, for sure. Yeah.
And then the people who compete, they're with me for at least a year because we started out, depending on what we're starting off, 4 or 5 months on top of, where they're at. So
are at least people motivated to do bodybuilding because there's money in it, or more just because of they push their body and they want to win?
So I'm gonna say majority of people that I've coached, the why you do this because the why has to get you through those days that you don't want to do it, right? So a lot of them are like, hey, I just want to see if I can do this. It's a bucket list, or I really want to challenge myself. Later on, sometimes it turns into some people think don't believe me. Some people don't think I can do this. It's like they're trying to prove to themselves that they're proving themselves right and prove somebody wrong. Okay. So it stems from that bucket list or other underlying things that come out later on.
Okay, so it's not usually monetary motivation. Is there money in it?
Yes. Okay. So there's money in bodybuilding.
I'm monetarily motivated, and I like to help people, but I do.
There's money in bodybuilding, but it's more money.
That's the only way I'm going to become a bodybuilder is if you start.
Well, there's money in it, but it takes a while. It takes a while for people to make money off of bodybuilding.
Okay, but how much for the upper echelon of how much do they have amateur and then professional?
Yes.
Okay.
So professionals are the ones who make the money.
Oh well, yes, that's what makes them professional. But how much do they make? What's the range?
If I had to take a guess, a pro, because there's different federations. I'll say that the higher levels, the people that you see, like what's called Olympia,
Yeah.
with sponsorships, their own businesses, renting, certain pro shows, probably about 50,000. Okay.
Yeah. And then how
for
many?
a higher echelon.
That's a good amount. That's a lot. Izzy and I were just laughing, wasn't you? Because she just knows how my mind goes, and I can tell she was just laughing, thinking that tomorrow I'm like, I'm bodybuilding.
Well,
that's why when we started, we're like this. So when I looked at her, I already knew that her mind was like, oh no, tomorrow she's gonna be like, I'm gonna win this competition or whatever, January 2027. So.
Never rule it out.
But that's why it was just, we started giggling because we just like had that eye contact, and I'm not thinking, but I already knew what she was thinking. All right. You've worn many hats: coach, entrepreneur, mentor, leader. What role challenges you the most, and what gives you the most fulfillment?
Coaching, honestly, between leadership and coaching, that's a hard one. That's a hard question. I'll probably say maybe coaching. Just seeing where a person, I don't care if it's bodybuilding or not, seeing where a person started when we first meet and start working together, and watching them. I always say this: the first transformation that you have is not the one that you see.
Yeah.
The first transformation you have is not the one that you see. It's this. It's this transformation, and I love seeing that. That's where I get my fulfillment, seeing that transformation. Hey, great. Hey, you hit your weight goal, your body goal. That's great too. That's all great. That's all great, and that's why you hired me. Great, but seeing that psychological or that mind shift, that's where I get my enjoyment. Because a lot of times people don't believe in themselves, and they see that they can transform their body or transform those healthy habits. That leads into other parts of their life, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll give a prime example. I had a lady that I was coaching. She always wanted to start a business, but she just didn't believe in herself. Yeah. She started her own fitness business. Oh, nice. After we started doing coaching, I don't want to say I told her to do it, but just coaching conversations. So they build confidence. So
that's awestion. That's really cool. Doesn't that make you happy?
It makes me ecstatic.
Yeah, that's super cool. I
love that. That's to me. That's the termination. No, that is the definition of inspiration. Yeah. You inspire someone else to do what they've been dying to do.
Oh, that's a good. I've never heard that as an explanation, but I like that. That's really cool. Yes. So that kind of goes into our last two questions. I ask everyone the same last two questions. So the last two questions I ask the same for every single person that comes to the podcast is talks about in Psalms that a man. I'm a Christian. I believe scriptures from God. So it talks about in Psalms that a man without a vision perishes. I think this will get a little dark, but when people commit suicide, or often when they're very destitute, is because they have no vision, they have no hope for a future, right? So I do believe, obviously, God's in control, but I do think it's important that we as human beings have visions. I think that God gives us visions, and that often that vision, pulls us if it's not, if it's aligned with what is right and scriptural. But what is and it can be either personal for your family, it can be professional for the team Ambition Fitness. What is your 5-year vision that you'd like to
5 years from now, I'm going to leave it team ambition wise, because me and my wife have some other goals ourselves. 5 years from now, I want to be able to say, Team Ambition is I oversee. I don't do anything with Team Ambition. Mm-hmm. I don't manage it. Somebody else is running our business. Yes. And I've started another business in coaching, business coaching. So I actually have a little bit of ambition in business coaching because I love business. Yes. I love business. I didn't realize how much I loved it until the last 2 years. Okay. So I love
That's
business.
What you're asking me in the beginning, what made me. Correct. But now I love it. Now I want to stay in it. But
and literally what I was just telling you about, somebody else who wants to start their business. Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of people, I've mentored people on starting their businesses. Yeah. Now it's time okay, I feel like I'm ready to do that. So 5 years from now, Team Ambition is still going to be there. Somebody else is running Team Ambition, but I'm managing my business coaching.
Awesome. That's really cool. And then the final question is there a quote, a saying, a mindset that you live by, or if you don't live by it, that you like to say or you think is good?
I have a number of them, but
you can say a couple.
I used the one I posted actually yesterday. If you focus on yourself, you can't see them, right? If you focus on you can't see them. Why do I say that? Because a lot of times that we worry about what people think, we lose focus on what our visions are just because we're watching what everybody else is doing. We're comparing ourselves to everybody else. But if you focus on yourself, you just can't see anything else. You're so driven. You're so focused. You talk about your vision, right? A vision. You will never have that vision if you don't focus on what you're doing. So that's one of my favorite quotes.
I like that.
And honestly, I say something. I actually made that up. So
yeah, that's cool.
So it's quite simple.
No, that's good. I like that. Well, thank you so much. And then if someone wants to, we'll also like link it, but if they want to join your team or they have any questions, how do they reach you?
Awesome. So they can find me on anything Team Ambition Fitness. My IG is at Team Ambition Fitness. Our website, www.teamambitionfitness.com. And any other platforms, you just type in Team Ambition Fitness.
All right, perfect. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming.
Easy peasy.
Thank you.